each other. Thank you for standing for what is right. Thank you for keeping the torch of hope alive in a different way. We are here to remember one of our last heroes, not the first hero, one of our last significant hero, Saeed Ali Hijai, or known as Ali. Usually people die, and when they die, culturally in all our regions, we do have ceremonies that we do to remember and pay our respect to death. In the Kabasa culture, we have what we call tazkar, and then we have what we call sadaqa, arba'iniya, and in many different cultures we have different ways of remembering and respecting our dead. Today we're not doing any of that because I think most of us are guided by a divine declaration. I'm sure it exists in the Bible, though I cannot quote it exactly. In the Bible we have a word which is called sama'atat. Sama'atat in itself, or shuhada, the words that we use, they're not secular words, they're religious words. Because in the secular world, you're not supposed to have su'ud or shuhada, because that signifies that there is God. And in the struggle that we waged, there was no God. God was absent. He was expelled from our struggle. Therefore, it's ironic when we were leading this godless struggle, yet we revered and recalled our dead heroes, martyrs, subu'at, shuhada. Today we celebrate Wad Ali. And as I said before, if I might quote a verse from the Quran, it says, وَلَا تَحْسُبَنَّ الشُّهَدَاءَ أَمْوَاتًا بَلْ أَحْيَاءً عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. انتهي معناتي بثرين يحتوكما سوء سخمود يركم عيت حسوه سوء أبسكاتات من بطاني زحيب السويز لنبزل easy. That gives us, it soothes our feeling, it makes us relaxed. We're not worried about martyrs. We'll be worried if somebody didn't die as a martyr. But if somebody is murdered for the sake of the country, then we are assured that these people are okay. And that has really played an important, it's very significant in the way we think, the way Eritreans think. When we mention our martyrs, we mention them with awe and we exalt them. We're not worried about their future, what is happening to them. Even the religious among us are not worried, because we are assured. So, Wad Ali is one of those people. He died in flesh, but his spirit lives on. It's obvious all over the world. His heroism has inspired thousands and thousands of people. It has injected this new energy that we have lacked for a long time. It has changed the political arena since January 2013. And that's the measurement of real heroes. As Tedros mentioned before, it's not only the dying who have died, but we as people, we stick to symbols. For whatever reason, Wad Ali became the symbol of that movement, and therefore his name will be associated with the 4th of 2013. In short, what his heroism did to our psyche, it made us reclaim, it forced us, in fact, reclaim our legacy. It cured our damaged self-confidence. We have reached, before that incident, a level where we began to doubt ourselves. Are we the brave people that we think we are? Do we really object to oppression? Why are we letting a clique of people do all of that to Eritrea? Everybody was asking those questions. And because we lacked a rational answer, we began the self-flagellation. We are weak, we are bad, we don't deserve to be free, and all that things over the last 3 or 4 years. Probably those of you who follow the public discourse might have noticed. Before the event of Forto, the Eritrean legacy has become a playground for everybody. It was being attacked left, right, and center. Our struggle was mocked. Our martyrs were considered bandits, people who died for no reason. Eritreans were considered people who don't know what they want, people who are so violent and bloodthirsty that we have waged a senseless war, and we have paid thousands of people needlessly, while we could have just impressed Ethiopia and lived under the yoke of Haile Selassie. Such a statement, I wouldn't have dreamed that an Eritrean would exist who would say or who would pronounce such statements. But it happened. When people are weak, they become vulnerable. And all the cowards, all the self-doubters, all the people who have always been on the wrong side of history, they feel that this is their time to avenge themselves and massage their heroes, their egos. And it was going relentlessly. And it caused us a lot of frustrations and a lot of anger. And it really hurt. It really hurt. When Eritreans were openly questioning our heroism, when people were questioning our history and ignoring what we paid for from a foreigner, probably we could have taken it as bitter as it is. But coming from some of our own, it was really painful. So, if you want to know the significance of what Gadi did, he corrected that misconception. He showed to everybody that the Eritrean spirit is still alive. Eritreans can be patient, but like any human being, they can explode, can snap. We're very calculating people. Most common excuse that we hear is, what happens after this regime? It's not evil, but in our nature, we are skeptics. Experience has made skeptics of us. And we want to be sure. We don't want to risk anything in our country. This country that we paid for heavily, we don't want to risk. And that is why sometimes the over questioning, the extreme skepticism renders us actionless, and we seem to be dormant. But as usual, we erupt as a people. We are resilient, we are dedicated, and we love our country. Nobody can doubt that. And that is why we want to take advantage, so that the heroism of Forto doesn't just go into annals of history without any major achievement. So we want to take advantage of that. How can we take advantage of that? How can we use it to our benefit? How can we advance our struggle for justice, equality, and freedom? How can we use it to advance those causes? And that's what we're doing. We're taking advantage of that heritage. We are celebrating. We're not remembering the heritage, but
that we are celebrating his heroism. But don't forget here, just like we want to use that incident to advance our causes, the dictatorial regime in Asmara probably plans more than we do to use that incident. If we go back to 2000, September 18, 2000, when the first time they started to arrest the reporters and the private media, we remember the accusations then. Those are paid spies, hirelings, CIA financed, Wayane financed. That was the tool. Because by saying that, they wanted to pull the carpet from under anybody who advocates for freedom of expression or for respect of the media rights, to be branded as such, as a spy, as a traitor, as someone who doesn't love his country. To a certain extent, they succeeded. Then they arrested the G15. And you remember what the accusation was there. Turkiyat, Aura Jawiyan, and all that stuff. Now, if you're going to support those people, you might be one Aura Jawiyan. So what do? You don't want to be branded as Aura Jawiyan. So you see something wrong happening, and you pull yourself out because you don't want to be branded Aura Jawiyan. And they succeeded to a certain extent. In 2013, last year, you remember the pronouncements of the regime immediately after the incident. It was very subtly disseminated. This is an Islamist movement. Whereas among the leaders of the movement, the only Muslim was Ali Said Hijab. He had Christians with him, who died with him and he fought with him. But no, they would say Ali Hijab, Islamist, so that it will stick. And what followed was along those lines. I'm saying this just to show you, just like we plan, the regime also plans. Now, on the social aspects, what do they do? Maybe most of you remember Germano Nati, who died in jail. I once heard his son recount his story. His father was jailed, and he didn't know anything about it. But since the guy was a known quantity, he would go to senior officers to ask them about his father. You know what they will tell him? The moment he comes, they will say, "Hey, the jailers asked him, the son of the victim, if he had any news about his father. And he tells them, well, I came to ask if you could give me some information. No, we don't know. We thought that would tell us something about it. We don't know. So, where did this guy go? If a senior officer receives him with a question, when he's supposed to have an answer, so the guy gave up. That is one way of killing an objection from the population. The second thing I met a month ago, I met a woman, and she was telling me about some parents who live somewhere in Europe, and their son was caught in the borders to the Sudan while escaping. They jailed him. So the parents will call from Europe, all the neighbors, do you have any news about our son? And they will tell them all the rumors they heard, all the stories that they have. After a while, whenever the lady calls, they'll tell her, please don't call us anymore, because this is causing us problems. The whole neighbors were warned not to communicate with the family of the jailed young person. That's ostracization number 2. Would you imagine somebody as senior as Haile Terror, for example, would be jailed and his wife would sell Injera to survive? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? That is ostracization, humiliation. Eritrea being a tightly knit society, people live among neighbors, relatives, and extended family. But if you cut those lines, those support lines, the people are isolated. You might kill them. If you don't kill them, you leave them there as good as dead. Without social support, someone will that would kill an Eritrean. If you want to kill an Eritrean, you put him somewhere where he cannot speak his language, where he cannot eat any of his national food. He will die. I think I would. My father speak Tigrinya, I would with an Eritrean for 2 months at a time. So that's how we are. That's how we are wired as human beings. And the regime knows this and works on it. So the second thing that they use is ostracization. Now I will take you to the late Amman al-Malakin, who died just April of last year. The last time I met him was in February of 2013, just about roughly 2 months before he died, when I was in Melbourne, Australia last year. I had interviewed al-Malakin in 2005 or 6, I'm not sure. I had a lengthy interview with him. And what he told me was, Ya Saleh Wali, that's how he talks to me. He said, the way we are doing your business is going to take you a wrong hole. I said, can you explain that? And he told me, those people who are inside Eritrea, how much of the Eritrean population do they represent? I said, well, 98, 96, 97, thereabouts. Because those of us who are outside are a tiny minority of what is inside. Sometimes we tend to forget that. We think that we are representatives of Eritrea, and the rest are just a bunch of dummies waiting for someone from here to go and rule over them or lord them. We have this misconception. We don't recognize that they are humans and they have aspirations, they have plans, and they have vision. We forget that. So he told me, in my time when I was a young person, he said, I could do anything. I don't care whether I died, whether I was killed, arrested, tortured, I wouldn't care, because I was young. But the moment I got married, I became a coward, he said. 50% coward, that's how he put it. The moment I got children, he said, I became another 25% coward. The moment I crossed 45, he said, I became totally coward. That's how he put it. So he said, those people, the heroes and the courageous people of yesteryears, they are cowards. Not cowards in spirit, but they have family to tend to, children to take care of, wives, husbands, mothers, parents, and all that. So they become cowards because they are no more thinking about themselves only. Now they're thinking of those they take care of. So if something happens to me, what is going to happen to my family? And the moment a person starts to think in those ways, that boldness is a bit restrained. I see it in myself, you see it in yourselves. Before I had kids, I didn't care. I really didn't care. I'll go to the job. I don't like it, I'll just resign and leave. But the moment you have children, you keep your job. Your boss might be a nasty SOB, you stand in because you have to feed a family. So that applies to the people who we are expecting to do something. In fact, it was repeated what I said 2 weeks ago. I was in Santa Clara. And that's what I mentioned about being the insurance and the guarantors of the families of whoever gives his life doing the ultimate job. You know, any civilized society is measured by how much they care for their public servants. Even in America, if you see, the moment a policeman dies, they have fundraising, they have trust for their children to go to college, they pay their housing balances, secure the mortgage. And they make sure that their colleagues are taken care of. It's a culture. And this is probably one of the many good cultures that we have to emulate. Because a society is not civilized enough if it doesn't have this kind of safety nets. Now, what we do to this family is a message. We are delivering to whoever is going to, or is aspiring to become the next Wadali. Whoever that might be. Because, the womb of Eritrea carried so many great people, and there are so many great people around, inside Eritrea and outside Eritrea. But if those people are going to follow the path of Said Hijai, we better give them assurances. You worry about yourself, but your family will be taken care of. That will be our responsibility. Once you make that statement, then we have done a very considerable job. So, we have promised to take care of the family of Wadali. And so far, the events that are being carried around the world are very encouraging. And I really feel proud because this is the third such event I'm participating in, and I really feel proud the way my people are responding to this event. As I said, Eritreans are patient and resilient people, and our country has the ability to breed heroes, unlimited ability to breed heroes. It has done it before, it's doing it now, and it will do it in the future. You've got to believe this. As I said, it's a civilized, a sign of civilization to come for those who are at risk and support those who risk their lives in carrying out public service. Don't ever be intimidated by those people who tell you we have people inside. Of course, many political parties are fond of making that claim. So far from the outside, nobody has claimed or died. Anyway, they're not cattle. We don't drive them from here. And if anybody tells you we have people inside Eritrea, tell them, oh, you do? Yeah, I also have people inside. Because we are not French, we are not Yugoslavs, we are not Russians, we are Eritreans. Everybody has relatives back home. Everybody has friends back home. Everybody has neighbors. Everybody has colleagues and friends. When Ali died for Eritrea, he didn't die for anybody at all. And that has to be noted. So, in short, the people inside Eritrea are not the militia of anybody. Those who have clean, good spirit, they have been fighting for Eritrea, and they will do that in the future. But we will not allow anything that happens in Eritrea to be endorsed or packaged as if it is a partisan deed. But the Ali's risk was not that. We don't recognize it, at least I don't recognize it that way. He died for every part of Eritrea, for every person who is an Eritrean who aspires to live in peace and with dignity. Now, last month, maybe some of you saw the daughter of Petros Solomon speaking at the UN. That girl really reflected that she is a person who grew in pain. I really felt bad when she said, I don't remember my father or mother, or she was too young to remember anything. Yet she grew up to make a case for her parents, and by extension, for whatever is happening in Eritrea. We as a people have been living in pain for the last 21 years. Our achievement was
kidnapped,
we were betrayed by our own, and the betrayal is still continuing, and the pain is still continuing. So, to stop such kind of transgressions on our rights, someone takes a step to rectify it, and that's what Ali did, and that's why we celebrate him. And be ready to celebrate so many like him in the near future. And thank you.